Welcome everybody to Samsung Gear S3 watch face overview. This session will be covering watch face development using Tizen Studio. We will be starting shortly. A few housekeeping items before we start. If you have any questions for the presenters, please post them in the Q&A box and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. If you have any technical issues during the webinar, you cannot hear us, you cannot see the slides, please also post them in the Q&A box for assistance. The session is being recorded and we will be sharing the presentation slides, all the material, the sample applications in our Samsung developer website. And please don't forget to provide feedback before you leave the session. You will be prompted with few questions by the end of this presentation. We need your feedback just to ensure we are doing things right, the things that we can improve over all these series of webinars. So just a couple of more minutes to wait for more participants. While we wait, we want to have a quick question, a pulse, we call it. So have you worked with Tizen before? It doesn't have to be wearables, just in general. If you have worked with Tizen before, let us know, thumbs up, thumbs down, and just to get an idea of the audience that is joining us today. So the majority of the people that have answered, they haven't worked with Tizen before, so that's great. This is a good place to get started. So let's get into it. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. So my name is Gaby Rojas. I'm here with Kavita Gopalan. We are part of Samsung Developer Program Team, part of the Samsung Electronics America Content and Services Division. We are happy to be hosting you today in our webinar for Watch Face Overview for Developers. So how can we help you? We are part of the dev support team of Samsung Developer Program. We are based in Mountain View, and basically we are here to help you develop an application, watch face, a theme for Android, for Tizen projects. We support mostly Samsung Android SDKs, the Galaxy SDKs, that's how we named it. We have Tizen Wearable SDKs as well, watch face editor, theme editor. And if you run into any issue while integrating any of those SDKs or while you're trying to submit your application for the Galaxy App Store, if you want to request some kind of promotion in Galaxy App Store, we are here to help you. Please, you can submit a ticket into our Samsung Developer Portal. The only thing you need to do is register to the Samsung Developer Program. It's free, just giving you an email address and your information, and you can start sending us queries about all the different topics. Or if you have questions about promotion, we are also happy to help you. As usual, if you have any feedback, you can also contact me directly. This is my personal Samsung email, gg.rojas@samsung.com. We appreciate any kind of feedback that you might have. Regarding these webinars, well, we have earlier today the Watch Face Creation Designer tool. That was mostly for designers or people that do not have coding experience, but they want to create content for the wearables. That was a very good session. We will have everything posted online in our website for you to review. The current session we have, well, that's mostly focusing for developers using Tizen Studio, watch face development. The next wearables webinar session is until March 23rd. That will be web widget development. Our next webinar will be Samsung in-app purchase and promotion opportunities with Galaxy apps. That's February 9, and mostly focusing on game developers that want to find opportunities to monetize and get promoted in Galaxy apps. And the last one will be themes overview and theme editor on February 23rd. That's also mostly for designers. You don't need to have any coding experience. And it's also a very good opportunity to create content to target mobile devices. Themes are very popular right now for mobile phones. Okay, so starting with today's presentation, let's talk a little bit about wearable market. If you have been joining us in previous sessions, you might be familiar already with this data, but I think it's important to highlight it. So speaking about smartwatches, it's one of the fastest growing devices in the wearable industry. We have seen it also with the fitness bands, which also has been growing, but smartwatches is going strong, and we forecast that it's going to continue to be strong. So Samsung has been in this market for a few years already. We have released several iterations of our smartwatches and also a fitness band. We have the Gear Fit 1 and 2 as well. And it's been very successful for us, and we continue to invest in this ecosystem. I mean, we see great growing opportunities. Key metrics, something to consider, especially when you are taking the time and investing resources and effort to create content for a wearable device. The current install base by end of 2016 of Tizen Wearable 2.3, that's basically Gear S2 and Gear S3, is around 3 million. The demography for Gear S2 devices, which was one of our most popular ones, we now have Gear S3, the latest version, is mostly 80% male in their 20s to 40s. So this is very important to consider, especially for watch face content. The number of downloads per device within the first 6 months is 8 or more apps. 80% of those applications are watch faces, so very important thing to know why watch faces are so popular. Users buy a smartwatch and they want to customize it, and the best way to do it is to get a watch face. Top markets, we have number 1, USA, second, Europe, third, Korea. You can still publish globally, but just as a reference that we are in one of the strongest markets in terms of smartwatches. Watch faces recommended price point, 99 cents or $1.99. You can price it whatever you want. That's up to you how you want to price your content. This is just a recommendation from the data that we have at the store. And in our store, we are constantly curating content. We wanted to promote different kind of content according to any special event or a holiday or something very good quality. So typically, we rotate the content every 2 weeks. The criteria to promote content is based on the brand, the usability, number of downloads, basically how it's performing in the store, and how the optimized experience for gear. We want quality content that users are interested in getting, and they value what they're buying or what they're downloading from our store. In terms of content, well, by end of 2016, we had 14,000 items of content available in the store. This is covering Gear S2 and Gear S3 mostly, 2.3 platform, and it has been growing tremendously. You can see in 1 year how much it grew. So we are also forecasting that it's going to continue to grow in the upcoming years. In terms of major players that are in our store, we have all over different categories in news, entertainment, sports, location, watch faces. We have major brands, Yelp, Spotify, NPR1, CNN. We also have some of IoT like Gear for Nest, Uber, that is very good application, especially for your smartwatch, BMW. So there's a lot of big players. There are more coming. We are doing a lot of partnerships to bring a lot of interesting content to the store and for our users. So it's getting stronger. We see the ecosystem getting stronger and stronger. Now, the popularity of preloaded watch faces in Gear S3. This is basically data to see what users are actually enabling in their watch faces, the watch faces that are preloaded, which ones do they prefer to use. So on the top smart watch faces are the most popular ones. Below you can see the least popular ones. And you can start seeing there's a trend. We mentioned that 80% of our users are male. So you can see how the designs are very masculine with dark colors, sophisticated. That's the kind of content people are using. From the store, we also see what kind of watch faces users are downloading, either free or paid. And we see the same kind of design. It's very dark, very technological, with a lot of functionality, something that is very appealing to male population in their 20s and 40s. Device overview. This is going to be covered by Kavita. She will be giving you overall specifications of the device, how it works, and then we'll start covering the technical part of creating watch faces.
Thank you, Gabby. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar. So today we are going to focus on how to create a watch face using Tizen Studio. So let's get to the next slide. So this is for people who have not used the Gear S2 or Gear S3 before. I just wanted to give you a high-level overview how the device works. So as you can see, the home page is the screen which displays the watch face. So that is the watch face application that is being displayed all the time. When the user rotates the bezel to the right side of the watch face, there you will see all the widgets like weather widgets, media player widget, etc. And to the left side of the watch face is where all the notification resides. So all the notifications that comes to your phone is automatically relayed to your gear when it is paired with your phone. You just have to go and click the settings, check the settings for the notification. And there are two buttons in the watch. The bottom one is called the home button. When the user clicks the home button, then it opens the app tray. There he'll be able to see all the applications that are installed on the watch. And the button on the top is called the back button. It just takes the users from the current page to the previous page. So just wanted to give you information about Gear S2 and Gear S3 models. This page talks about Gear S2 models. As you can see, there are two versions, Sports and Classic. And there are also Bluetooth version and 3G version. As the name suggests, Bluetooth version means that it has Bluetooth only. It does not have 3G connectivity, but it also has Wi-Fi. So it can either work when it is paired with your phone, or it can also work standalone by itself if there is a Wi-Fi that is available for the device to connect to. And the 3G version, as you can imagine, it has an embedded SIM in it, and also has a GPS chip in the device itself. So you can create various applications which require location information data. And it also has speaker. And for Gear S3, we have Classic and Frontier. Classic comes in Bluetooth version, and Frontier comes in both Bluetooth and LTE version. So it has a LTE embedded SIM in the device, and all the Gear S3 versions has GPS chip as well as the speaker in it. So this opens up a lot of use cases for the developers to create applications so that the user can make full use of the functionalities available on the Gear S3 device. So Gear S3 has been recently released in the market, and the platform level supported for Gear S3 is Tizen 2.3.2. So these are all the most important APIs that has been opened up to developers for the Gear S3 device, that is the Tizen platform 2.3.2. So we have an API called the Web Widgets, using which the developers can create widgets using the web APIs. Before it was only available through native APIs, and now we have also opened up the web APIs to create the widgets. And there are many APIs like speech to text, which converts your audio to text. And as I mentioned earlier, all the devices in Gear S3 have GPS and speaker. And we have also introduced a new API for Gear in-app purchase. You can use these APIs to sell additional items within your applications, like additional watch face or premium services and features or subscriptions, etc. So for any gear, either Gear S2 or Gear S3, you can create two kinds of applications, either a companion application or a standalone application. A companion application, as the name suggests, has two parts: the host Android application that is running on your Android phone, and the Gear application that is running on the Gear device. So both the applications usually communicate with each other through some protocol. To make it easier for developers, we have something called Samsung Accessory Protocol, which takes care of all the Bluetooth socket connectivity, finding the peer agent, etc. So you can use the Samsung Accessory Protocol to have the communication channel between your two companion applications. And the standalone application, as the name suggests, it is a standalone application, and that's going to be running on the Gear device. It does not depend on any other application for its full functionality, and it is developed using Tizen APIs. So this is the Samsung Accessory protocol that I was talking about. All the companion applications use SAP to communicate between host and the Gear application. It is the most common architecture followed for Gear apps. In some cases, host device can be used to do intensive functionalities or repeated processing, and then it can send the information back to Gear, and that information can be displayed in your Gear application. This is a very typical use case used in companion applications. And we also have Seller Office. Seller Office is the portal through which you can publish your application, manage your application, promote your Gear application, and also update any new version of application if you have. So it has everything you need to manage your application that is public or live right now. And we also have Gear App Beta Test channel. That is to test your beta version of your application. That is, if you want to send it to your internal QA team within your own company, you can use this channel to send applications through the testers, and the testers will also be able to send the feedback using this channel. So this is more like beta test for your application within your organization. So I wanted to show you some demo. This is the sample app that we'll be creating today, and when you long press the watch face, you will be able to see all the other watch faces that are available on the device. So you can choose from any one of them that is available to make it as a default application. And now let's go back to the sample application that we'll be creating today. As you can see, there is an icon called the steps. We are going to get the pedometer data and display the information. And when the user clicks the icon, it's going to launch the S-Health application that shows the steps information. And there is also another button called Buy icon that has integrated the Gear IAP. And as you can see, once the user clicks that, there will be a prompt displayed in your phone, and it's going to display the payment options for the users to buy your application. I'm going to select the credit card application and click Buy. So you can see the prompt and the Gear watch face, the background of the application has changed. So this is just a demo that I wanted to show you to see how your application will work if you have integrated Gear IAP APIs. So this is one simple use case that you can use, and you can start generating revenue using the IAP. And so Gear watch face application types. So in a watch face can be in two states, either active watch face or always on mode. Active watch face means the watch face will be displayed only when the display is active. If it is not, then the user will not be able to see the watch face. In the always on mode, the watch face will be always visible. Because it is always visible, we want to restrict the power consumption and processing power this watch face will be using. So there are some restrictions to create the always on mode. We recommend you to keep the background dark, and we also recommend not to use seconds, because to draw the second, the CPU has to be invoked every second, and also the battery and everything has to be invoked every second. So usually we don't recommend that. Just to keep the power consumption to the minimum. This is the sample application that we'll be creating today. So as you can see, we are going to create an analog watch face with hand hour hand, minute hand, and the second hand, and then we are going to add a component called the step count, which is going to show the number of steps the user has walked throughout the day. For this, we are going to use Human Activity Monitor API and receive the pedometer data using that. And also, we'll be creating both the watch face states. We'll be creating an active watch face as well as always on mode. And now Gabby would like to ask you some questions until I get set up with my Tizen Studio.
Thank you, Kavita. So basically, we want to hear from the audience. I know some of you are not familiar with Tizen, but have you developed any kind of wearable application before? It doesn't have to be for Tizen, Samsung. It can be any other platform. You can just let us know if you have any other previous experience with other wearables platform, while Kavita gets her environment ready to show. Okay, we have almost half and half. Some of you have developed for other platforms, some others haven't. Oh, now more people haven't. So Tizen is a good place to get started with the wearables. Okay, so Kavita, whenever you're ready.
Yep. So I'm going to, I would just like to let you know that you don't have to start creating an application along with me during this webinar. It's going to be more like a code walkthrough style. I'm going to walk you through every section of the code, and then finally I'll be creating a project, and then we'll compile and run the application and show it how it looks on the emulator. So we don't expect you to do the application right now. We just have to pay attention. And after this webinar, all the resources, the presentation, the step-by-step guide and sample application is going to be available for you to download. So you can always try it out, and you can email us back if you have any questions. So let's go and take a look at the code.
One minute, you should be seeing Kavita's screen pretty soon. There we go.
Okay. The Tizen Studio Watch Face Developer Guide. So let's see what is the prerequisites. Prerequisites are you have to go and download the Tizen Studio. You can download it from developer.samsung.com and install and set it up. And once you're done, the IDE comes along with the Tizen Studio. You can click and open the IDE. And for this application, we are going to use the template that is already available. So you can choose the template by file, file, new Tizen project. Select the template and choose the wearable, because we are going to create a wearable application, and choose the platform as either 2.3.1 or 2.3.2. To give you more context about this platform, Gear S2 used to be 2.3.2 before, but by end of December, we rolled out a firmware update for all the Gear S2 devices to be upgraded to 2.3.2 platform. So the users who have installed the update should have all Gear S2 should have 2.3.2, and Gear S3 is also in platform 2.3.2. So you can choose 2.3.2 or 2.3.1 and select the template called the basic UI that is available, and give a name for your application, and then click finish. Now in the config.xml, in the category, we need to specify that this is going to be a wearable clock, because we are going to create a watch face application. It is different than the regular wearable watch application. So we need to specify that in the Tizen, in the config.xml file. Once you're done, we need to add two privileges for this application, because we are going to launch another application called the S Health application. We need this application launch privilege. And also, since we are going to use the sensor data, pedometer sensor data, we need to declare this health info privilege to access the sensor information. So next, let us see, because we are going to create the ambient mode is nothing but the always on mode. We have to specify that in the config.xml file. So I'm going to enable the ambient mode support. And on the device, if you want to make your watch face always on, you can go to, in your device, that is your watch, you can go to settings, display, and watch always on mode. This functionality was moved to different settings page in 2.3.2. So right now it is in settings, style, and inside the style you will be able to turn the always on mode. So next, for those who are not familiar with the web app format, so for the web application, we'll have three important files. One is the config.xml file that we have already described. Then we have the index.html, then style.css, and then we'll have the JavaScript. Index.html is where we are going to define the layout of our application. So for this, I'm going to use my own image resources to specify the background, the watch hands, and the icons to show the step count, etc. So I'm going to define the div for each of those. I'm going to have a big container, and then I have a div for background, and I have a div to show the index for the clock. Then I have the component steps where I'm going to have an icon. Then I'm going to display how many steps, the text to display how many steps, and I have the static text called steps that is being displayed all the time. All these things go under component steps. And then I have another component called the main component where I'm going to have all the watch related components like the hour hand, minute hand, and the second hand. And then I'm going to add an action to the steps icon, because when the user taps on it, I want to launch a different application. So I have defined a separate div for that. So as I told you earlier, I'm going to use my own image resources for background, index, all the watch hands, and I'm going to have a background for the steps, and there is an icon like the step icon that's going to be displayed. So copy all these images into the project. So I'm going to create a folder called image under the root directory of my watch face application. And then I'm going to paste all the image resources here. Now let's go to the JavaScript file. This is where we are going to specify the actual functional logic of the application. So I have a method called the rotate element method. As the name suggests, this is the method that is going to rotate the elements, that is the hour hand, minute hand, and the second hand. We are using element style.transform JavaScript property to rotate the image. I'm going to pass on the image as a parameter and also the degree as a parameter. So when I pass the image and the degree, it's going to rotate the image resources for me. And then I have a function called the update time. This is going to get the system's current time, and I'm getting the get hours and storing it in the variable hour, and I'm getting minutes and storing it in this variable called minutes. Same thing with the seconds. And I'm calling the rotate element for each and every clock hand, for hour, for minute, and for second. This is the logic, like how much angle it should rotate. So this is the onChange callback. CB is the callback function that will be called when we register for the pedometer sensor. So this is the callback function. So I'm going to be registering for the human activity monitor.pedometer sensor. Once I register that, this will be the method that will be called every time the step count information changes. So I have to display the step count number for the UI element that we have declared in the index.html called the step count. So I'm querying that UI element from the index and index.html and storing it in the variable called element. And then I'm changing the value based on the information that I get from pedometer info.accumulative total step count. So there are different methods that are available. You can check the API reference. So accumulative total step count is going to give me the total step count that the user has walked from the time the device has rebooted. So depending on your functionality and use case, you can use different methods that are available. But for now, this is the method I'm going to use. And I'm updating it to the step count UI component. And now, I have a different method to open the S-Health application. S-Health application is a preloaded application. That is, it is a default application that will be installed on the watch for all the Gear devices. So to launch that, this is the ID of the application, but we cannot launch the exact page. The S-Health application has multiple pages, one to show the heart rate sensor, one to show the step count, and there are a lot of other pages, but the page IDs are not open for the public developers, so we are only able to load the default page of the S-Health application. So this is how you launch an application. Tizen.application.launch and give the app control ID. Then this will do the process of launching the application. So I'm having a different method called the bind events, which is going to bind all the events for me because we need to register a lot of listeners here. I'm going to do that here. So I'm going to register for the visibility change. Every time the device display visibility changes, I need to know when it changes because I want to toggle between the normal mode and the ambient mode watch face, because I'm going to supply the UI and the logic to display for both the watch faces. So I'm registering to the visibility change listener. So if the document is not hidden, I'm going to update the time because I don't want to keep updating the time all the time if it's not even displayed. And then I'm checking if the ambient mode is true. If it is true, then I'm going to show the ambient watch face, and if it's not, then I'm going to show the normal watch face. And also we have another listener specifically for the ambient mode changed. I'm also registering a listener for that. This is how you load the register for the listener. Window.add event listener and register for ambient mode changed and get the value to this detail.ambient mode is equal to true. Then again I'm going to display the ambient mode watch face, else I'm going to display the normal watch face. And now I'm going to register a click functionality on click event for the action steps UI component that we have declared in the index.html. So this will make that image icon clickable. So when the user taps on this image, we have to do something. So this is the event that I'm registering for, and once the user clicks, I'm going to call this function called Open S-Health. So we have already discussed about this functionality, how it launches the S-Health application. And then I'm also listening for time zone changed listener. So when the user moves from one time zone to the another time zone, obviously we need to know because we are creating a watch face application. So I'm listening for time zone change listener as well and updating the time accordingly. And as you know, we have already discussed about the update time. So update time will check the current system time and will update the time according to that. And this is the most important part. This is where we are registering for the speedometer sensor. So we have an API called Human Activity Monitor API. Inside that we have a listener called set accumulative pedometer listener. So this will register for the pedometer data change event. So every time the number of steps changes, on change callback method will be called, which we have already discussed previously. Okay, so this is a method to show the normal watch. What I'm checking is I'm getting the background and getting the background ID and storing it here. And if it already contains a ambient background, then I don't removing the class and adding the normal background. So to show the normal background, I'm going to show hour hand, minute hand, and also the second hand. So I'm changing all the component visibility also to visible, and the action steps is also visible. But in the ambient watch, I'm not going to show the second hand. So that's why I'm going to remove the visibility of the second hand, and I'm also going to remove all the step count icons and everything, because to keep the power consumption and the processing power to minimum during the ambient watch phase, I'm not going to show the seconds or not the step count. And finally, we are registering the window.onload. When the window loads, I'm going to call the init method, and inside the method I'm going to bind all my events, and obviously I'm going to update the watch face every second. So that's pretty much it in the sample application that we are doing. So this is the stylesheet.css. This is nothing but we are going to specify the width, height, adjust the alignment and everything, and specify all the styles for the UI components that we have declared in the index.html. So we are declaring the class and changing the style here, because we want to change the style how it looks based on the how it looks on the runtime. So this is the best way to have two different backgrounds, normal background and the ambient background. I have declared this here because this is the data that is going to be changed during runtime. If I have a static style information, that you can also declare it in the index.html or without declaring any class. Similarly, I have a class. We have declared a class for minute, hour, second. So this is where I'm loading all the image resources for the watch hands and for the component steps and for the step icon, step count, and everything. And then the one thing that I would like to, so I'm using this method transform origin to declare the pivot point for the watch hands for all the three hands, like the minute, hours, and the seconds. This is the X and Y position where it upon which all the hours is going to rotate on. So pretty much it just does the styling of your application. And finally, you just have to replace the icon for your watch face application, and then you can run your application. So that's pretty much it. So now let's go back. So let's go and see how to do that in the Tizen Studio. So this is my Tizen Studio. I'm going to just copy paste all the codes that we have discussed now. I'm going to show how it runs on the emulator. So click File, New, Tizen Project. We are going to choose the template. So I'm choosing the template. Wearable. I'm going to choose 2.3.2. I'm creating a web application. So select Web App. I'm going to use the template Basic UI. Select and change the name. Basic watch and finish. So as you can see, you have the index.html file, config.xml, JavaScript file, and CSS folder. So now let's click the Tizen tab and specify the content type, content category as wearable clock. This will declare our application as a watch face application. Now let's add all the privileges that is necessary. The first one would be the application launch, to launch the S-Health application, and the second one would be the health info, to use the sensor data. Click and save it, and then when you save it, you'll be able to see the ambient support. Since this watch face is supporting ambient watch mode, I'm going to go ahead and change it to enable. And now your config.xml looks good. Now I'm going to copy all the image resources into my project. So click my root folder and new folder, name it as image, and finish. And these are all the images that I'm going to use in the project. So click here and Control V. This pastes all the image resources here. And now let's go to the index.html, where we are going to specify the layout. I have already copy pasted the code, so I don't have to worry about closing the tag or missing a slash or anything. So copy. This is the exact code that we have discussed right now. So just change and let's open the style sheet. This is the same code that we did the code walkthrough. Copy pasting it here. And now let's go to the basic app logic. Okay, so as you can see, it is the same code, and I already have the emulator open. You can open the emulator, or even if it's not opened, when you try to run the application, it should automatically launch the emulator. So I'm going to do right click your application, run as Tizen web app. This should automatically launch, install it. So it says the application is installed. To change your watch face, drag from bottom to top, select the settings, clock, and when you click and drag, you can see the clock that has been installed. Now when you click the home button, there you go. So this is the sample application that we created. As you can see, we have the hour hand, minute hand, and the seconds hand. So this is how the watch face will look when it is on always on mode. So to change the settings in the emulator, you can go to settings, display, screen timeout. You can change the screen timeout to whatever you want. So I have kept it to the minimum so we can see how it looks, how the ambient mode watch face looks when the display goes off. And this is the step icon. If you want to emulate the step count, you can right click on the emulator, advanced options, control panel, and you can see the pedometer here. So there are various options you can click to simulate the pedometer sensor data. So I have checked working. So as you can see, the step count keeps on increasing because it is simulating as if the user is walking. If you want to go ahead and stop it, you can right click, again go back to control panel, and then stop the pedometer data. There you go. So what was I supposed to say? Yep, if you want to uninstall the application, you have an option in the control panel. In the last page, App Manager. When you click the App Manager, you'll be able to see all the applications that are installed on the emulator. You can click it and then click the uninstall button to uninstall it. Yeah. So now I'm going to leave it as it is. Similarly, you can simulate the heart rate value, pressure, proximity, light, etc. So that's pretty much it with the sample application. If you have any questions, you can always reach back to us via the email, Samsung Developers Portal.
Okay.
And now it's back to Gabby.
Thank you, Kavita. I want to talk a little bit about publishing, but before we go into that, a quick pulse check for everybody. Have you published, I know some of you have developed applications, but have you actually published a wearable application in any store? It doesn't have to be Galaxy Apps, it can be any other store. Just let us know, thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, let's see. So a lot of people have not. Okay, so, well, that's also a good way to get started through Galaxy Apps. So we talk about all the different designs, the ecosystem, how it has been growing. Kavita explained you how to create, to develop a watch face using Tizen Studio. So right now you have made all that work. You have created a design, you have developed it, you are ready to have it in the store. So what it takes, like to publish it, to actually have it in the store, to get people to download it. So basically, you will have to submit your application via Seller Office. We have a certification process in Seller Office, but then once the RQA team verifies it, it will be live in Galaxy App Store. In Galaxy Apps, we have a special section for all gear applications. You can see how are we curating the content. We promote different things, and for example, the watch faces are being promoted. We also have a specific section inside the gear area of the store that is for watch faces. You can sort it out via category if you are looking into digital or analog, or you want some more of a sports kind of watch face. You can also see that there, or browse through the top watch faces or what are the most popular ones. As I mentioned, we curate the content, so we are also checking our holiday or event calendar. For example, the next major event will be Valentine's Day. So if you have some content ready or about to be ready that you would like to request for promotional consideration, you can submit a ticket and let us know. Our editorial team will be happy to review your content and we'll get back to you with feedback. And the next thing is, well, once you have your application in Galaxy Apps and it's visible for the users, you can have your product details page with a YouTube video that explains the functionality of the watch face. You can have very nice high quality images to show users how the watch face looks in the device. You can also leave a description, update the different versions. The users are going to be able to rate it and leave you comments, and you can reply to those comments. So you can have that communication channel with your users to see what they need or what they don't like, or if it's not working, so they can get the proper support. Just before we wrap it up, I just want to show you a quick video of what the experience is of a user that has a Galaxy phone and is browsing through the store. So this is Galaxy Apps. I'm going to Gear. And in Gear, you're going to be able to see all the different content that is being curated. We have different watch faces, grouped all together, like the one from Snoopy. We have also from Line Friends in Galaxy. We have also from Phaser. So you can see the content says and what kind of watch faces are there. And then you can also go back and go to the actual watch faces section where you can see different categories I mentioned earlier. You can browse through the top watch faces and just see what's in the store, what content is available. Let's say, for example, the first one. And then you can check For example, this one has a YouTube video that you can see how the watch face works. It has also quality images, screenshots of how the watch face will look in the Gear device. It has all the information about that release. You can submit more releases or let them know what's new in the latest update. A description of the watch face, the user reviews. You're going to see similar apps or more watch faces from the same seller, from the same developer. And this one, for example, costs $2. If we want to buy it, it will trigger our Samsung billing, which is like any other billing system. It's working with Samsung account. You just register a credit card. In the US, we also have PayPal support. And basically, you just select and buy the watch face. And it will start installing the watch face in your device. Depending on how big the watch face is, well, it takes a little bit of time. And right now I have my Gear device paired to the phone, so it will actually install it and then ask me if I want to apply it or not. So let's just give a little bit of time while we are waiting. Just a reminder, we have all the links that we have presented during the session available in the resources widget that is at the bottom right corner. So if you want to start checking that out, please do. We are going to have all the content available online as well as the session recorded. So that will be a good way to review the content and go through it. If you have any questions, or as usual, feel free to contact us via our Samsung Developer Program portals if you have any questions, and we'll get back to you. And now that it's been installing, you see you can apply it or not. I have the default watch face in my Gear device, and now it has changed to the one that I just downloaded. It's that easy, right? So sometimes it's a bit addictive to download a lot of watch faces and change them quite often. So do we have any questions right now?
I have answered a couple of them. The rest of the ones I'll be answering.
Do you want to let everybody know about the main one?
Yeah, so preloaded watch face has special access to APIs and everything because it is developed in-house. So it may not, all those APIs and features used in preloaded apps may not be available for the developers. So just to let you know that. And there is no stylize option is still not available for developers yet. That has been most frequently asked features from developers. So we have escalated that issue with our team to make it available. So if you have any more information on that, we will publish that in our website. And the other couple of questions will be following up after this webinar through the email.
So we will be contacting you. Expect an email from us, and we will answer your question via email. And just to wrap it up, next steps. If you are interested, please review our previous webinars. They are available in our website. Register to Seller Office. That's an important step if you are planning to publish a watch face in Galaxy Apps. It's needed as the gateway for you to manage your application and make it available in the store. I've said this many times, but again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us through our Samsung Developer Portal, or if you want to email us directly, that also works. And the next webinar will be February 9th, Samsung in-app purchases and promotional opportunities with Galaxy Apps. That's mostly for Android mobile game developers, but anybody's welcome to learn about what is Samsung in-app purchases and what kind of promotions we're doing with our developers. And after that, we will have Samsung Mobile Theme Editor, also very interesting, as there's a lot of interest in themes for mobile phones, especially when new devices are coming out. People want to consume all these themes to install in their new phone. And that's it. Thank you for joining us. Right now, you're going to see a survey. Please take a minute just to answer the questions. Let us know what you're interested, what other things you want to get the information about, and we will continue to improve these webinars. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Thank you.